Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Free Range Human Thoughts. I'm Tabitha, that's James, and it's a Monday morning. Let's have some fun.
Right. Um, I have one for you.
Got it.
Hourly versus by project, or literally anything else. Hourly versus
Yeah.
anything else.
Okay. They're gonna try to figure out an hourly anyway. I've never been able to get away from somebody like backing into it with some idea of like level of effort, and then being scandalized by it, right? And regardless of what it is, right? When I charged $50 an hour, when I charged $500 an hour, it's always too much. What I do now is project based, um, with the exception of the like little strategic session you can sign up for and just chat with me. Yeah, it's all project based. Right? The idea is that you're paying me for an outcome, right? You want a thing, um, or well, I mean, as if it is a project, I guess there is a differentiation if you're doing like interim work or I know you're talking to a lady about um, essentially being like a halftime CFO. Um, they're like that pricing model is going to be different than hey, help me out figure out this framework.
So, how would you? So, I feel like there's two sides of this. There's the person who's doing the charging, and the person who is doing the work, or the person who's doing the work, and the person who's receiving said work. Because I feel like in this day and age, we are at a place where this still rewards, and I feel like it's because you've corrupted my mind with your book, Stopwatch, Daddy Taylor.
It's never going to go away.
But it rewards like a different style work that we are no longer in. And so now, when things are hourly and you're experienced and you're good at what you do, there's absolutely no benefit for hourly work because it's like, oh yeah, I can get this. This is freaking afternoon for me, babe, and then you just fucked yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reward for good work is more work, and that's both a good thing if you're a consultant and a bad thing if you're a W-2 employee. Yeah, I very much agree that for probably anybody listening to this, you're not moving pig iron for Taylor. And so even with those models, right, getting away from the idea, it's so ingrained that getting people out of that headspace and being like, what you're paying for is for a thing to get done, right? Not necessarily the amount of human time you think it should take to happen, right? At James at 40, much faster at a lot of the things that I do for a living than I was at 20. Um, why would you? Yeah, like why does James at 20 get paid more to do the same job, right? If we're talking about an hourly thing, right? And so you got to adjust your hourly up for people with more expertise, and in theory that happens. But again, every time anybody has backed into a like, what is your actual hourly rate? Absolute scandalized.
I feel like hourly rate is a concept.
It
No,
is.
no, it's not. And I feel like this is something that I know you've gotten on to me about. I have no boundaries. No, I was at a drag show on Saturday,
Mm.
and my phone starts going off, and it's on the table, and everybody knows the lady who's calling. They all like Why is she calling you? What has happened?
Hmm.
Is for a QR code explaining that with just titties. But just having that, like, it's a project based thing. I have the ability to not answer, not answer. However, I'm obsessive compulsive, so I'm going to answer.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
but
that's a different conversation.
yeah, yeah, that's a boundaries thing. That's a Tabitha thing that I have a problem with. But with an hourly rate, if I was like, okay, well, whenever you answer this call, that is 15 minutes. It it's easier to set that boundary up and like hold that. And then also, I mean, then you have what is that movie with Tom Cruise is super old? The Firm,
Okay. Yeah,
where
because it is a
what
very
is it?
lawyer thing to do. Is to like we bill in 10-minute increments or whatever. Um, and yeah, and I think why it's accepted there and not with other professionals, I'm not really sure. Um, but yeah, and I think that's why I tend to go with project based billing is just to be like, here is a chunk of money, and you'll have a thing at the end of it, and I'm not going to be available. But I'm also not don't need to provide you with the documentation of how I've actually spent my time. You just get a thing at the end. Um, you know, that said, I lawyers make a lot of money. Well, they can. Uh,
Well, they all go to jail at the end of the movie, so for overbilling.
well, also, a lot of lawyers go to jail, particularly if you work for this administration. Um, make attorneys get attorneys. Uh, so no, well, I guess that's really my question for you then is how much over the level of effort are you putting in from what you initially anticipated this was going to take?
Um, so
Right?
for
Like,
me, like with the strategic roadmap, I was like, it's going to take at least a week, but less than 2 weeks. And so that's something that could have taken somebody a really long time to do
mm-hmm,
is 2 weeks.
yeah,
However, the walkthrough took 500 years because I like to explain everything in the world. But having yourself, I like to give a time block of this is when it is, and it helps me stay in a constraint.
mm-hmm.
It helps so people are also timely.
Hey, I'm working on it. Uh, no, I think so. But how is that running up against the amount of money that is coming in, right? And it's sort of the surrogate measure for level of effort, right? How much time are you putting into a thing versus how much are you getting paid, right? Does it feel commiserate with the amount of effort you're putting into it? Really, the basic question is like, did you like shoot yourself in the foot because this is taking more than you thought it was going to?
I have gotten a lot better about charging my worth and not being like, I hate you at the end of this because I made myself
Mm-hmm.
take the job because I undercharged, which is
Yeah.
a whole thing. Um,
And I think a lot of people start there. Right? I certainly did. Um, and because you want work and you're like just trying to find anything to like keep the lights on, and then they don't. you know,
yeah,
and now
it turns into a monster. Always just say a number higher than what you're like. I will take this. Just say the other number. Just say
yeah.
the other
Well,
number first.
and I think where people miss on stuff is when you're on the like production side of things, right? You're always thinking about like what is the margin that you over the cost of goods sold, right? But when you're just billing for your time, you should have come into this number that's I'm $200 an hour, and that includes everything, and then you base your level of effort around how long you think this is going to take, how big a pain in the ass things are really going to be, and then you like kind of circle back. But you never really add in that buffer, right? You think you have, but if you think it's going to take you 10 hours and it really takes you 11, well, you're what 10% higher, right? Like you've lost 10% of the plot essentially. And so I try to look at margin at around 20%, right? From back when I was a contractor. Like that was always just the buffer, right? Our contingency. Because, yeah, you might run into something, it might just take you longer. It might be a bigger pain in the ass, right? And you just have that buffer. Um, and if you don't, if you're right on, well, congratulations. That's your benefit for being good, is that you get to make a little extra money.
I think you should have a higher profit margin, but that's a different story. But I
I
like
I do
having
tend to build
even,
in more time. I tend to like to think things are going to take a lot longer than they actually do. Not a lot longer. I haven't done any math about it, but like I tend to underestimate or overestimate hours by about 15% anyway, um, which is nice because then like when there are the extra conversations, I don't feel weird about it because inevitably you're going to kick things back and forth like one extra time.
and I feel like on the client side, if I'm charging by the hour and I'm like looking at, well, I really want to ask, do you think my branding looks like shit for for the product I'm selling?
Yeah.
I that's that's a whole nother hour conversation. So I'm not going to ask something that could be very detrimental to the actual project, but I'm going to sit on it to save money. And it's like if that was part of the project, it's more of a collaboration. I would have that conversation. Of course, this goes into the could it be a Zoom call or could it be an email?
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
think there's where the times that I've been sort of on retainer, right? Where yeah, you're paying me $1,000 a month, whatever. I don't remember exactly how much we were doing this um, for just to call me up, ask me questions. That was really, I think, a really nice way to do that because it does sort of separate the how much per minute does this call cost me, right? Right. This isn't phone sex. Like we're not tracking it to that level. It's like I'm just a trusted advisor that you can shoot an email to, and I'm not going to keep track of the fact that it took me 26 minutes to write this email back because you asked 75 questions and didn't really realize that you had. But it's just it makes the relationship side of it a lot easier, and I think that's why I tend to stick with like the project based. Is that sure, I have done some math around what I think it's going to take for me to get it done, but I don't have to share that with you, right? Because we've agreed that what you want is an outcome, right? You want a thing to exist, you want a new process, you want to, and like however we get there is how we get there. And provided we're not blasting through like my time estimate or we're not adding things to the scope, then yeah, it's just I think it makes for a much more congenial working relationship where it's just like here's a milestone, here's an invoice. And we don't have to like go back and be like, well, this was really 18 minutes, so I'm going to bill you for an extra 15 minutes because that's how my lawyer does it. Um, she's very good, but she's very expensive.
I like the idea of with a project broken out into phases and milestones and having that be the goal is because this is how I explained it to my lady was this is the goals that we're looking to accomplish in this time period. So at the end of this time period, those will be done. It's not this is going to be, 19.6 hours. Like it is going to be completed. However, the own self work of having boundaries and everything. I'm really working on the like no Fridays for certain people and no weekends. However, that's
Mm-hmm.
the nonprofit conversation I need to have with them.
Mm.
That one more month. Um,
No, and
but
that's good.
I feel like having that clearer once you understand, I guess once you embrace like the concept of the milestone rather than it's like I want my house fixed. So like James knows how to build things, so please forgive me. I gotta explain this probably incorrectly, but like you have to do the foundation of the home and then like the
Yeah.
the stick
You,
part of the house. Um
yeah.
The
And then the
Sims
wolf
part.
comes and he blows it down, and you gotta.
But those, you do like that. And so those would be milestones rather than me like, and I don't know if this is how this works, but like charging for this. And then you have to factor in like if it starts raining, how much extra. I don't know how houses work. That was a terrible example to use. That was the example for you to use.
It was a really great example, actually. So, like, we're painting the house right now, right? And we live in the Pacific Northwest, and it rains not infrequently. And they got out here super like April is super early to try to paint anything, um, and it's an old house, so there's a lot of prep work that goes into doing it, and they're into like a solid 2 weeks of work for a project that I thought was gonna take like less than one, because they've had rain delays, they've had just a lot of handwork that's had to go into it, and yeah, like that's the risk in the contracting side of like sometimes these do run really long. Sometimes there's a lot of like things that you don't know going into them, that you kind of have to price in. And that's the thing about finding a good contractor or consultant or whatever is they're going to be reasonably close, right? The guy that's doing this has not called me to be like, this has run on really long or tried to nickel and dime me about anything. He's just like, yep, this is just what this one's going to take. And sometimes they go faster and, sometimes they don't. It really just, but like his process was, here's a deposit. And at the end, you're going to owe me the other 2/3. Right. And coming from a contracting background, that's just really normal, right? To take a little money up front so that you can pay everybody while you're actually working on the thing and then to double back. But it is like milestone stuff, right? For bigger projects, yeah, it's exactly what you're describing, right? Sometimes you do it as like percentage of completion, but you identify what that is, right? So we're going to dig a hole for your basement. We're going to build some basement walls. You're going to owe us a chunk of money, right? We're going to build the framing for the house. We're going to put on the siding. We're going to put on the roof. You're going to owe us some money. All of the interior stuff, you're going to owe us some money. And then at the end, you're going to owe us a really big chunk of money for all of the everything else. Um, but that's the same as what we're talking about with the milestones, right? Of just like, here are each of the big pieces that need to get done. My level of effort calculation just lives in my head. And then, but like to get to a strategic plan, right? It's the same sort of thing, right? We're going to have a big meeting. We're going to get everybody together. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about strategic goals. We're going to do all these things. You want your mission, vision, and values. You want to have, 3 to 5 like major strategic goals that you're going to work on for the next 2 years. Articulating that is kind of its own milestone, right? And so maybe at the beginning, I've been like, hey, like the total project cost is $150,000. At the beginning, I want 10% so that I actually have money to like travel to you guys. And I don't have to come back and like show you that I stayed at the cheapest hotel next to the airport that was awful the whole time so that you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of, right? You don't even know how I spent my money, right? It's like coming up with a day rate, right? Like if I got to travel, it's $3,000 a day. And that I don't ever have to justify what I do with that because that's just what it costs, right? That includes my airfare, that includes hotel, that includes food and like all of those things. And so you're sort of building all of those into those milestones, right? Like whatever it takes to get to the product is what it takes, right? And the risk is on us as consultants to get it reasonably right. Um, and the flip side of that being on the client side, just leave it alone, right? You don't need to know how many hours we're actually spending on this. Like you get the thing you wanted, hopefully with the experience that you wanted to have.
And with the client side, I will say I've done exactly once. I built a website that ended up never being finished.
Mm.
On is like very beginning of hourly rate, and she's like 5 hours every week. And so, with needing feedback from somebody and needing to charge for that feedback, it just constantly was like I got barely anything done. I would get a time to review all the things that she wanted, do a little bit more, and then it wouldn't be done. And around and around and around. And it was just like, rather than it being a project, we'd be able to talk this whole thing out and it be done in a fast paced thing. Ended up not being done because she had financial problems. So that was a different thing. But
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
that 5 hour, like it dragged on for ages.
Yeah. Well, when you
And
figure
that's
like
not
5
even,
hours a week, you're like, here's a meeting on Monday and a meeting on Friday, and so I have 2.5 to 3 hours of actual work time on any given week. Like, you're never gonna get there.
yeah.
But I
And
feel like
then,
that's a good piece for client management too. Of a lot of folks, particularly, and this isn't to like badmouth nonprofit people, but like don't like may have not had the experience of running a project like this and kind of know what's involved. And so as you're leading that project, right, as the hired gun, it is very much how are you helping them understand what's happening and how long, like what their involvement needs to be, how you structure their involvement so that you're sort of getting the best out of them, right? Talking about like strategic planning retreats, I think they're terrible and I think they're a total waste of time, but you're welcome to pay me to do it and I'll come. uh but like, you don't have to go away to do things. You don't have to, like, you can economize in thoughtful ways if you're really worried about the money of it. But the way you use that time is way more important than it just existing. Yeah. But I think that's very much to your roadmap point of like, how do I, as the consultant, build in an appropriate amount of feedback time and keep them on track so that someday this will be over.
something I'm going to ask you about.
Uh-oh.
I was like, where do I fit into this? Um, but I mean, and then I feel like there's a whole other side of this, which I feel like it has to be addressed, even though it's shitty. Shitty.
Sure.
The milkers, the
Yeah.
milkers of the hours.
Well, God, yeah.
There's no incentive to working faster if you're being paid by the hour. So,
And well, there's no reward, right? Like, if yeah. Well, and I think that was, we talk about like salary versus hourly, right? And the problem with that is if you're salaried, you're expected to work. It only ratchets the one way, right? It's only ever more than your 40. It's never, I got done early, so I get to like fuck off now. Uh, but with hourly, right? Work to rule, right? It just get your money and let it take all of the time. Um, is it? I don't even know that it's unethical. I think it's you are put in a position that was designed by somebody else, and if they wanted to incentivize you doing more, they could do that. Especially for larger organizations, right? Like you can pay people more, you can give them bonuses, you can do lots of things, right? Even fucking Daddy Taylor gave people bonuses for moving pig iron faster. Um, I hate everything about that, by the way, and I've challenged Tabitha to a like fist fight in the parking lot. So no, I mean, like, yeah, you can absolutely milk it, and provided, I don't know, what do they, I guess the real question with this is, what are people trying to accomplish, right? What are you trying to get humans to do,
well, I feel
right?
like usually whenever it's you're working with a consultant or a professional services person, you have something. I want to accomplish X.
Exactly.
I need X. This isn't like I own, a bank and I need a teller literally to stand there all day. Um, because what they do doesn't really matter. They just need to be there. So it's hourly does make sense. You can't be like, this is project based. Once you serve 5 people, you can go home and just, um, but for a specific type of work, this is what works best. Um,
No, but even
And
within that, right? Like, let's take a fast food example, right? Because everybody's worked that shitty ass job. Um, what is the material benefit to making an extra 10 hamburgers an hour? Like, what do you get out of working that much harder? Yeah. No, like, there are times when you just need a human to do human things, right? And I don't know how the painters are getting, actually, like, the guys who are actually painting are getting paid. I don't know if they're hourly. I don't know if it's like project based and they're hired as a crew. Um, but if they're getting paid hourly and they're like milking it, and, that's, I'm not paying more for it. Um, so I can definitely see, like, there is a use case for it where you need a human to be in a place for a set period of time. But I think for everybody else, right, unless you're like picking up the phone or you know taking people's money at the bank, yeah, like, think about how you're rewarding people actually using their time. I mean, the go faster button is always like being pressed, right? How do we maximize the amount of production we get out of a human? Yeah, I mean, do you have to? Is kind of the thing.
that's what the little simulations teach you to do.
Yeah, there was the one where like you just had to keep pushing the button that electrocuted the person you couldn't see but you could hear, and you just keep mashing that button. They just like management just keeps telling you to keep pushing that button, and eventually they die.
It's
Um,
not wrong if someone else tells you to do it.
that's the other title of my book.
But yeah, it also, like, I mean, doing a good job in an hourly position, all you get, like you said, is rewarded with more work. So there's no benefit. It's like, yay, I get to do more for the same amount of money that I did. Why, Bob
Yeah, just
is
fucks
happy.
off and is like smoking cigarettes out behind the dumpster. Um, no, even stuff like that of like the smoke break, right? If you don't smoke, you don't get a break. And I don't remember, there was a Japanese company that actually totaled up like an average number of hours per year, and they just gave them to like as vacation to people who didn't smoke. And they're like, that seems fair. And it was
That's
days worth of extra leave. Uh, so there's just a yeah. I don't know how you well like how you bridge that question of like why would you do more, and how do you, other than pay people more to do more work more faster,
There's
which is
the hope for the pat pat. There is hope to move up in the company, and then that's another podcast of like, you think working harder and better means they're going to be more, you're indispensable, and that they're going to be more loyal to you. But these hoes ain't loyal.
no,
But
no, not to you anyway, certainly
yeah,
to whoever they're playing golf with, but
but
yeah,
you,
probably not.
excellent burger maker,
Yeah,
excellent.
well, when you become indispensable, yeah, right, like of course they're going to keep you in the spot where you're indispensable. um
Well, you can always find someone to do the job not as well for less money. And unfortunately, for us that are getting older, younger, which freaking sucks. But
It's true. My foot modeling career has just gone right in the tank at this point. Nobody's
please
interested in
subscribe
middle-aged
to
man hobbit
James's
feet.
OnlyFans
Feet
or Feet Finder. What is it called?
finder. Yeah, I'm not actually on there, kids. Please don't go looking for me.
It is not James's feet if you follow it. No. But it's like I don't know, the workforce in general is very, and then you can, I mean, this is like a full on rabbit hole
Mhm.
that I don't know if we want to go down, because then you
Do
go
it.
into like
Let's go.
wage slavery and all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, the whole point when goddamn Roosevelt got the minimum wage going was because that was the amount of money people needed to essentially live. Right? It was meant as a living wage. He wrote a whole bunch of shit about it. And the fact that it is 7.25 in most places still, is the federal minimum wage. Like, nobody can live on that.
okay. is in 2009, Texas is got 725 out of
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
Um, I saw like it's like everyone moving to Texas because of the cost of living. One, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Two, whole lot of other stuff going on. The violence. Like you go here and you're like, oh, it's cheaper, and then it's like minimum wage is 725. So your kid's gonna like graduate and be like, oh, cool. Here's your entry level job of 725, and you need a bachelor's degree for that job and 17 years of experience.
I mean, that's its whole like, the idea that entry level now requires at least 3 years of experience and specialist training, right? Like, yeah, for some jobs it does, right? I'm an engineer. Right? If you haven't gone to engineering school, it is difficult to jump in to like doing engineering work, right? There is some prep you need to do. Does it really match up with the job? Um, but like being able to come in to a normal business and learn bookkeeping by doing bookkeeping things for somebody, or I don't like any of these things, right? Yeah, maybe you do need some specialist training, but the threshold for getting in is just wildly overinflated.
And let's say for your bookkeeping example, it's I'm going to post the job. I'm going to be like someone that has 10 years of experience for 725 an hour, or it's just going to be my cousin
Yeah.
who needs a job
Yeah.
with zero experience, and that unfortunately is kind of the way things work, and that gets into like the some people just
Yeah.
have a
Feel it
key to the
upwards.
elevator and they don't need a ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean you have a lot of I would hate to be joining the workforce now and trying to figure out what I might be doing. Even as somebody who's had a major change in career, right? I went from being an engineer and working in construction to strategy and weird stuff like this, and yeah, like it's just coming into it and trying to find a spot that is at all going to reward you, is going to compensate you appropriately, right? I work with a lot of tech bros, and if you didn't graduate from Stanford and get your MBA as well, like the tech money has definitely disappeared. Um, yeah, especially for new grads, right? Folks are talking about coming out with a degree in computer science and not being able to find a gig in tech, and not from bad schools, from like the normal middle market state school. Where once upon a time, everybody who made it out, unless you were real dumb, um, or totally unable to network, which is unfortunately necessary, yeah, you're gonna be stuck now. With your kid going off to school, I hope that there's a big market for studying bugs somewhere.
Keep on pushing the bug studying. I know
Yeah.
they want to do something else, but I'm just like, AI can't do that. Eh,
AI cannot go into the jungle and find a new species of beetle.
yeah.
Um, is it going to be like the best paying job ever? No, because you're going to be a postdoc for an infinite amount of time, because we were destroying the American university system. But at least you will find cool bugs, and that's a benefit. There are not many cool bugs in my career, so
I had to go to the museum with them of the largest privately owned bug collection.
cool.
Not cool. It's gross.
Oh,
Gross. There's bugs
yeah.
that are this big, and if they hit you, they can break something. And I was like, I was living my life happy, like just a normal life.
Yep.
And then that. Um, but the butterflies were nice, but
Yeah.
I was
So
just
when the
like, this
podcast
is
tour starts and we go to Australia, Tabitha's just going to hide in the hotel room the entire time.
just, there's already so many bugs here that are just like, I have been stung by scorpions so many times. It's like, I must be delicious. Well, I guess they aren't biting you, they're just stinging you. But all the bees, all the wasps, all the me and nature. I don't want to go like up that level of
Mm.
woohoo. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, hotel
Yeah.
or like what is it? Those like funeral garbs.
I was just wearing like a bug, like a mosquito net, just draped over her the whole time. Gonna hide in my bubble. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Everything's cool. We can just like stick the microphone in on a little like boom. It'll be cool. Uh, Except you'll just see like a little line of ants coming across. I don't miss those. I definitely had them growing up in Florida, and it was no, no.
Florida, y'all have, I mean, that's a whole different level too of things
Well,
that
I
can eat
mean,
you and kill you.
well, hey, the gators are fine. Right? Like you leave them alone, they leave you alone. Just watch out for your dog. It's your children. Whatever. You got to worry about like the anacondas now. That's another big one too. Um, but people would get them as pets, and then they would release them out into the swamps. And now there's like 30-foot anacondas in the Everglades. Um, it's actually a job now. So here's one for kids who are maybe getting out of school and looking for something to do with their life. You can get a job with the state of Florida hunting anacondas in the Everglades. No shit, and it's fairly well paid because they're an invasive species and they're eating literally everything. Because the only thing that eats them are the alligators. So there you go. That and feral hogs, you could definitely go for those. I don't know that their pay is as good, but I do feel like there's a whole podcast just around.
Weird job.
Here's what the job forecast really looks like for you all. Get weird with it. Build shit.
There's so many jobs I've learned about like in the last year I didn't even know existed. We have to save that. We'll have to save that one.
Yeah, but it is the fun of consulting, right? Is that you get to bounce around and do all like kind of crazy things. Sometimes
Hey,
you run
what
a cult. Sometimes you fucking talk about magic water and spend your entire Friday talking to product design people in Portland about how to make magic water tanks. They're
did that go?
honestly, it was not the weirdest things that you've been propositioned for recently. The guy was like, "Yeah, we could do it." It's
I don't
okay.
know what the weirdest thing is now.
It's sex toys. Almost certainly, it's sex toys.
That makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, like somebody had to help with the original run of the Bad Dragon stuff, and if you haven't looked that up, please do.
No, not on my. I was like, not on my
Tabitha
incognito
Strange.
browser
This
moment.
will be real fun.
Live reactions to no.
Well, no, the influx of AI into everything as well. Yeah, some of this is, I when I was first started teaching about it, it's not going to steal your job. Right? It's dumb. It doesn't write very well. Just be careful about the information you feed into it. It still doesn't write very well, but it is less dumb. It's going to take your job, but not because it's better than you, but because your management thinks that it's cheaper. I just saw an article this morning about how it's because they're actually starting to charge the cost of what the thing actually is. It is more expensive than junior employees, and so they're reinventing junior developers because people are cheaper than the bot. Great times. We're just coming full
Coming
circle.
back. The
Yeah.
resistance.
So yeah, I do not envy you kids. And people are going to be like, just go into the trades, and then you too can have fucked up knees and a like trick ankle at 40. I started as maintenance guy. I did roofing. I've done like yeah. Just be gentle with yourselves. PPE is exactly what it's for. Please use it.
Oh,
Well, on that
so
jaunty note,
AI doesn't charge by the hour.
AI charges by the partial word. Like you think that it's true though.
Pieces of your soul. But so whenever I worked in financial publishing, but the writing is very manipulative, all that good jazz. However, the writing is really good because it's manipulative.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're
How
just
it's
able to do
manipulative is really
it. Yeah.
is really good. So now that I want to say 4 people from that team have moved on to a new, basically rinse and repeat of
Mm-hmm.
a different trading guru, that you can tell they're using AI. And I keep getting screenshots sent to me, and it's so, seeing someone who wrote so well
Mm-hmm.
to something like, I feel so cringy. Like I am embarrassed reading it. Like I am shocked that they make money. I nothing near whenever they were writing at full like level.
Well, and what's the trade-off, right? How fast are they spinning this stuff out versus,
So fast.
when they actually wrote it?
Yeah. So fast. I mean, it's a team of 4. I want to say customer service is like just a handful of people. It's a super small team, and they're able to just,
Yeah. And if you
but
don't care about the quality of it, right? And yes, I very much agree with you in that particularly marketing language should be written by humans for other humans. So if you are doing anything where you're doing outreach, hire somebody, right? Go on Upwork. If you don't know anybody who does it, find a copywriter. They set their own rates. That's ethical. And then go with that. But the idea that you just like chuck it into the bot and hope that something comes out that's going to be in any way compelling, right? The number of emails that I get that are obviously bot written that just frankly, go unread. Um, and yeah, you may be sending out 1 million and your percentage works, but goddamn, don't. Uh, just don't. Fuck off. Uh, it's not just old man shouting at clouds, right? Like, this genuinely, especially in the nonprofit sector, right, where you are trying to be thoughtful about the way you're doing the work in addition to doing the work. Yeah, you can't connect with folks unless there's a human somewhere in that process to connect with. But as far as like financial writing goes, yeah, dude, fuck it. Most of them are like write only documents, or nobody's reading this stuff. And if they are,
I'll show you some of the stuff I wrote. It was really good.
I believe it.
But
No,
but now you can cut cost, and so
yeah,
ROI.
ROI. Well, and what's your percentage, right? If the 4 of you are making, $100 an email, and you can crank out 1 million emails, that's not an insignificant amount of money. You know, if you were making $10 million and it took you 5 times as long, how does the math shake out? You care, and I guess that's really the other bit, right? I don't put anything out into the world that hasn't at least been reviewed by a human. Um, I write all the blog posts. Someone like you can tell. James should be writing textbooks. Tabitha fixes them. It's very helpful. Someday everyone will get the unabridged version of Modern Management, and it will be fucking wild. Then the 6 people who buy it, I will really appreciate.
I think it would be great for people that are teaching this.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah. So the long way back around to ROI and how are you charging for your time, and yeah, like what is it doing to your soul? Um, that is a part of it, right? You're a human in a system. You're trying to figure out how to make a thing work so that you can pay your bills and make life not suck. That's a whole thing to consider in your pricing structure. I think about friends who take every other Friday off and like go skiing. I think about people who just want to live, right? Especially when I used to work in government, right? Folks who just never went up the ladder, right? Because they never felt the need to. They had a great lifestyle, right? Why fuck with it? Um, if you really just want to be home by 5 every day, because that's where your real life is, do that, right? You don't have to go a million extra miles. Like, provided you feel good about the work that you're doing, don't make this weird. Don't make it harder for yourself. Set boundaries. Don't answer calls on Saturday. Um, you're not on call. Don't do it. Don't do it, Tabitha.
Get better, I swear.
Yeah. Do I occasionally take very early morning calls when a client's on the East Coast? Yeah. But, like, I also price that in. Uh, you gonna pay me more if I gotta get up early. Especially since some of y'all start at, like, 7. No. That's why I don't do financial services stuff as often anymore. I'm not getting up at 3:30 to have a conversation with you about anything.
With financial services, you don't even know if that's like the end of their evening or the start of their day.
You can tell by how much cocaine they are currently on.
Like if they just keep it an even amount, you never know where it's going. It's just always someone shaves their head at some point, and you're like, you just paid
And
all
that's
that
when
money
it's
for hair plugs and you just shaved them off.
yep. And that's when it's time to move on. When your financial guru shaves their head, they have totally lost the plot. It's just time to go.
So super fun live event to watch.
Did they do it in public? Was it like on a Zoom call?
It was not on a Zoom call, but he went and made several unaliving. He had showed up, shaved head, several unaliving that were, I don't think, jokes, comments during it. And it's like, you're asking people to pay you.
I mean, there's a reason why, like, the people who have all of the money tend to be boring. Yeah, there's a handful, that are fucking outrageous and should get on the next rocket they want to shoot off. But most of them very boring. Like, my new landlord is somehow related to the Crown Prince of Liechtenstein, and they just look like very boring European men, and they have more money than God, and so yeah, don't be exciting, don't make this weird, just enjoy it, and you know figure out what you actually want out of life, kids. There you go. That's Uncle Jim's advice for the day. Like, you don't have to do this shit. Don't fucking do any of it. Get off my lawn. Why are you even listening to this shit? Go home. Go buy some paint. Go to a park. Chase a duck. Like,
Don't chase a duck. No
chase a
ducks
duck.
were harmed during this.
Yeah. Paint a duck. Yeah, I don't know. Find the right paint, though. That's some research you can do. Don't ask the bots. The bot will lie to you.
I had another good one. I'll have to think of what it was. I think I screenshot it. Like another really weird random like answer that it gave me that was like, that is not humanly possible.
Well, you can't eat an entire watermelon in one go, and even if you could,
As one does. Charge worth, factor in other incidentals.
and just be like kinder to yourself about it, right? I think that's a piece too that as I've sort of mellowed into like a normal consulting cadence again. Yeah, I don't actually have to fill every hour with work in order to have produced good work. And that's really a piece that took me a long time to get to. Of just because I can doesn't mean I have to. And if I get done faster, it does mean I get to be done. Right? I don't need to go chasing things down once I have enough like work on the books for the year. Figure out what number you need to hit and then hit that. And if you want to do more, great. And if you don't, fucking don't. Uh, I got nothing there, right? Like, I know what I need to pay all the bills, and after that, yeah, there's one or two that are vacation money, and then away we go. Right?
That's a good way to do it. Start by budgeting.
But yeah, and that's a tough place because again, where we started this all off was how to when you're getting started and you're taking all of the work that you can because you're just trying to get anything going. Um, that become the pressure there to just try to bring in money, regardless of how much the work sucks and how much what you're really pricing it at, and all of the things. I think everybody who started off on their own is guilty of that. Um, but if you can hit it, like figure out what your target really is, it does make it feel less dire.
and
You
horrible, and will make you not be an entrepreneur.
know,
Like, just I hate having my own business. Bye.
yeah.
Um,
And there's no shame in that, by the way. Like you can decide that running your own shop isn't for you. Lots of people do, and it's not bad. There's a lot of extra bullshit you got to do that's not the work, right? I hate bookkeeping. I don't do it. I pay a human to do it for me. They're very kind. You know, I'm terrible at social media. I pay a very kind human to do it. She's great. You should hire her to do it too. Slightlook.com. She'll help, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, like, don't make it weird. I think is the underlying thing, right? You figure out what you need, figure out how much you, and then like price accordingly for the work that you're doing, right? How skilled you think you are. Don't let other people, especially clients, tell you what something should cost. Um,
they're going
and
to tell you a lot
frankly,
less.
well, of course, and like it's in their interest to get everything they can out of you. Um, but ask other consultants what they charge. Like, a lot of people will tell you, especially out here when I first got started, and particularly working with nonprofits. I just called everybody up or shot people an email to be like, "Hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee and learn a little bit?" Right? What do you do? Right? So many folks out here are focused on fundraising for nonprofits that me coming in and being like, "I'm going to help with technology projects," meant that we were collaborators from the beginning. Where there's no conflict there because we're not chasing the same jobs, but we are chasing the same clients. So when a fundraising thing popped up, I had a whole network of referral folks. It's the same now, right? I think probably the most valuable thing that I own is a Rolodex, but for all the other old people. But no, just like all of the contacts that you have becomes really, really helpful to be able to pass stuff around. And you can choose to monetize that if you want to, a finder's fee for passing along work. I don't do that generally, unless it's real big or like a relationship that I have helped you cultivate. And a little kickback is nice, but don't make it weird. Uh, there was one time, they were both lovely people anyway. They get like they've done great. They got like 6 kids now. It's awesome.
5-star reviews, everyone.
Yeah.
Follow James at.
Do not call me up about your relationship needs. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, that is not what the little strategic session is for. Don't, no, I can't help you. I'm not a therapist.
I mean, if you approach,
Approaching relationships is like an actual merger.
yeah, like if you approach dating in general like a strategic roadmap.
So, all right, to pull back the curtain on James a little bit, I do have a roadmap for the next few years. I like to update it about every 3 years because that seems to be about the right cadence. But it's started like, how do all of the pieces fit together, right? Like, my partner has her own career and is doing crazy things. We're moving to another country. Like, all of these things have to go. So it's not outside the realm of like business normal to have some plan around that, even for your own relationships, right? It's just applying some project management stuff to what you want to accomplish. Um, as far as finding dates, that's a little weird. Uh, but there are consultants for that too. Slightlook.com. Tabitha will absolutely help you find somebody.
I'll help you with your brand management. No.
There's a niche. All right. Be like your relationship doula. You can.
I feel like we need to do a podcast on life strategic roadmap. Can you talk about your roadmap?
Yeah, I can even show it off. Because I don't think there's anything like weird in there. But yeah, it's just set some strategic goals. What's your mission, vision, and value? It's all the same stuff, right? What are the defining factors of the things that I want to accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years, and then yeah, work your way backwards.
You're going to explain this to us in length with images and all the things
I will
because
put
I'm like,
together some PowerPoint slides. It'll be great fun.
I think so. Next podcast on
I'll
Thursday.
get ready by Thursday.